Good morning, Rachel. How are you?
Good morning, Colleen. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to have you here today.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for so much for the invite and bringing me in to talk to your group. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I think the ladies will really enjoy what you have to say. And I know today's a holiday, and so we may not get a lot of people in the live, but they will watch the replay. So that's always good. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business before we start?
Sure. So I'm Rachel Leduc. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I What I'm going to be talking about today is a little bit different than my business. I went through a divorce 5 years ago and got ended up getting run over by the legal process and my lawyer, and didn't really have anyone to help me or give me advice or guide me through the process. And I came out of it just riddled with debt and feeling like there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way to go through this process that's going to leave people intact, right? That's going to keep women emotionally intact and not feeling absolutely shredded emotionally and financially coming through the process. About 7 or 8 months ago, I just started putting this divorce coaching business together and I just kind of put it out into the universe of like, I'm a divorce coach. And I can't remember, I like the first time it came out of my mouth, I was like, what in the hell am I doing? But it's been just this.
Your experience, I mean, you've got all this knowledge. That was a rough lesson to go through. Why
Yeah.
not and help people with it?
Yeah, and it's been really great because I have like a master's in communications. So I'm able to find effective ways to communicate. I had a photography business, so I understand contract language and how to work with professionals and other vendors. And then I've been through the divorce process. So it all kind of worked together, and I'm definitely like in that sweet spot. But yeah, I'm a divorce coach, and I also help women file divorce pro se without having to go through lawyers. I have an eidetic memory, so I memorize the process of how the courts work. It's very, very similar state to state. So yeah, I'm just here to do what we call collaborative law. Divorce coaches are recognized by the American Bar as an alternative resolution service and an alternative dispute resolution service. So it's really great. It's been an amazing journey. But all of it kind of came out of what I'm going to talk about today, which is this fear of failure. Like I almost didn't start my business because I was afraid to try again. I had a very, very successful photography business. It got up to 6 figures within 3 years, and and then it started falling apart for a myriad of reasons. But the number one reason is because I didn't have the right people around me. And once I started setting boundaries and cutting those people out of my life, um it everything just started working again. And then now I think that that's why I'm able to start, I was able to start the business last year, and it's so successful now, is because I was able to take what I've learned from what didn't work before and fold it into what I'm doing now.
I love everything you said about that. And so I'm going to go back to the point that I've never seen anybody happily divorce going through it, right? Never happy feelings. And so what a gift and a blessing you can offer other women, just helping them with that. I love your communication skills. I love the fact that you're bringing that and you're here to share that with us. And I also love how empowering is it to see you, and you started your business 7, 8 months ago, and yet here you are rocking it, and you went through your divorce. You are like the validation that women need in the world, that yes, you can go through a divorce, and look how much success came after that. Look
Yeah.
how better off you are. It's going to be
Yeah.
okay. It's like a great big hug you're giving people, a real big
Well,
reassurance that there's hope after this.
yeah, and I'll get into this in a little bit, but it's like you have to build the life that you want. You
Yes.
are in charge of your life. No one else is in charge of your life. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is going to come and get over the fear and the inhibitions and everything else that you have. Like that's your job.
Right. And I feel like one of the things you said was that you cut people out of your life so that you could progress. And I feel like what I've done is I've just moved myself up the rungs of the ladder and kind of cut the emotional ties that were holding me back. I'm not cutting those people out. They're more than welcome to make the changes that they need to be able to blend into my life. And I would love to have them there. And the people that I've had to do this with are people that I truly love. And I never thought that you could deeply love somebody and disassociate with them.
Yes.
I know now from my experiences that you can. And not only can you, but it's an absolute must sometimes for your own safety, your own progress, your own success in life.
And in my situation, one of the people I had to disassociate from was my husband,
Yeah.
my ex-husband. He was the person that was holding me back the most. And it wasn't until I fully was divorced and allowed myself to, to heal. And now I'm with a man who supports me, encourages me. We've had the hard conversations of like, yes, I have this divorce coaching business, and yes, I'm posting things on Instagram and Facebook, but it's not about you. But he's secure enough in himself and in our relationship that he doesn't take it personally. So
Right.
that was also another part of that healing journey.
And I see that the most successful women in the most successful relationships are when they are independently sure of themselves and confident in themselves. And so my husband is very much different than me, farmer. Um, Never dresses up. He dressed up one time, went to town, and we were going to a funeral actually. He stopped at the hardware store and they were like, "Oh my gosh, look at you all cleaned up," you know. And I
That's
always say,
awesome.
but he just doesn't care. He's in a position in life where he doesn't care what anybody thinks. I, on the
Yep.
other do, but we're very independent in our lifestyles too. So that's always fun to see how other people make that work. And I've looked at some of your videos and I found them quite fun. And I like that your husband can participate in some of those and be okay in himself and confident in himself.
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny. I think I told you this in our mastermind group that we're in, where I was just like, I have this video sitting on my phone that's my husband is fully participating in it. Like he's the aggressor in the video. Like he's not the aggressor at home, like 100% not. But in the video, I'm like, listen, I need this. He goes, what do you need? What can I do? What do you need me to hold? How do you need me to help you? And I'm like, what? Like, and I came out of a relationship where I was made to feel absolutely horrible for like wanting to be on camera or wanting to post anything about myself or involve him or anything. So to have him be like, what do you need me to do? Like I'll carry whatever you need me to carry. I'll be the bad guy in your video. I'm like, whoa. So it's like, but yeah, it's having
What
that
a fresh
security.
air.
Yeah. And it's
And
all
it
about
really,
having that security.
yeah, it's so empowering for you, really validating for you.
That's good.
Anyways, I won't hold you up any longer. Why don't you tell us what you have to share with us today?
Yeah, give me a second to get it set up.
Yeah.
It is. um, Okay. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So like I said, this is a little bit about me. I am from Charlotte, North Carolina. I am a wife to this handsome man. We've been married, it'll be 2 years in May. I am a mom and a stepmom. The little baby I'm holding is not our child. When I met my now husband, on our first date, he told me that his soon-to-be ex-wife was pregnant. And I was like, I'm like, is it yours? And he's like, pretty sure. So everyone thinks that little baby Charlotte is our baby, but she's not. But what I'm so blessed about is that like everyone's gelled really well together. Everyone's pretty similar ages, and like wherever we go, everyone's just like, are these all of your kids? And we're like, yep, these are all of our kids. So I love dogs and cats equally. My dream job, if I could do anything in the world and not have to worry about money or my children or house or anything like that, I would be a professional traveler. So I would travel the world and tell people about it and, do all those fun things that you see on Instagram and TikTok. Like I would love to do that. I was a former professional photographer. I did high-end weddings here in Charlotte. I was the #1 photographer in the area for about 5 years running. We'll talk a little bit more about that. I'm obsessed with the Enneagram. I love the Enneagram. I'm an Enneagram 8, wing 7. That is the Maverick, which fits me and my personality type completely. My husband is a 6. We meet in the 7. So he's a 6 wing 7. I'm a 8 wing 7. So we have a lot of fun together in the middle. My husband loves to tell people I'm allergic to wine, I'm allergic to chocolate, I'm allergic to coconut, which means we just came out of Valentine's Day and he has a hard time shopping for me on Valentine's Day because of all of those. But it's just something that you live with. I'm obsessed with Skittles, so that gets me through my sugar fix. So
Very
all right, so today we are going to talk about the F word. Like, why should we talk about it? So the F word can be a lot of different things to a lot of different people, especially if you watch Ted Lasso. The F word here is failure. So why should we talk about failure? Why is this something that needs to not be hidden? Why are our mistakes something that we need to talk about? And how can we break down the fear that we have of not wanting to talk about it? Like, what's keeping us from being our full selves and sharing these more vulnerable parts of our lives? So experience.
well, I
Go ahead.
think that when you say that, I think that we had what did I watch the other day? And the lady, it was a motivational talk, and the lady said, you know what, I did make a mistake. I did, I absolutely did. I failed at that, and that's mine.
Yep.
And so your opinion on it doesn't matter. It's up to me to fix it or to correct it or to do something different next time. But it's mine.
And
Leave-
yes, and what I love, I cried the first time I watched Meet the Robinsons. Like they're all having dinner, the whole family's having dinner together, and the little boy is there and he's trying to fix this invention and it falls apart dramatically and peanut butter and jam go everywhere. And he's so afraid, right? Like he's gonna get yelled at and everybody erupts into like applause and cheers. And they're like, you failed, that's amazing. And he's like, what? And that was one of the things, like I cried through that scene because that was the first step in my journey on reframing failure.
Very good.
All right, so let's talk about experience versus wisdom, right? So experience says, I'm going to try new things. Fear and injury are a regular part of my life. Okay. Wisdom says, I'm going to learn not to do by what not to do by watching others, right? Like risk taking really isn't in their vocabulary. They rely a lot on what's happened in the past, and they have a hard time taking risks, right? Experience says better to ask for forgiveness than permission most of the time. This is my life motto. I'm the learn by experience person, right? So let's try new things. Let's figure it out. It's okay. We'll get there eventually, right?
Right.
Wisdom people normally get adopted by experienced people. Okay, this is how wisdom people get in trouble, right? It's like, how do introverts make friends? They get adopted by an extrovert. So wisdom people get adopted by experienced people. And that's normally where the sweet spot is. That's normally where you meet somebody that has experience and takes risks, and they have a mentor or a coach or somebody or a friend that's the wisdom person. And though that's where you find the balance. That's where you find the sweet spot where these two things intersect. So you can try new things, but then you also have that other person there that says, hey, what about this? Have you thought about this? What about this angle? And it's balancing those two things at the same time. So
That's so interesting because I feel like growing up, I was adopted and the youngest of four, or the second to the oldest, but the youngest of the first two adopted. And I feel like I did a lot of learning by watching my sister.
mhm.
Want so badly to be accepted in that situation. Even I know we're talking about business, but even just on a personal level, I really just wanted to be accepted and loved. And so I did a lot of just sitting back and watching the mistakes happen and not doing them, or doing them in a more protected way. My sister had all of her kids by
Yeah.
18. Well, by golly, you better bet I was using birth control. No, just
Well, yeah.
all the way through life, I felt like I did that with my siblings. I watched them get in trouble and do things, and I learned from that. But on the little, then I twisted a little bit by going, but that looks really fun, and I'm kind of a risk taker, and so I'm going to do some preventative measures.
Right.
Not
I'm,
because it's risky.
yeah, I was the person where it's just like, hey, we don't want to do this thing, but we might want to do this thing. I'm like, I'll try it. Like, I'll do it. That's fine. And so like, hey, does anyone want to jump off the dock to see where all the rocks are to see, so we don't like jump in and bust our heads? And I'm like, sure, I'll do that. Right. Like that was me. Um, so my guardian angel was probably, my mom always said that my guardian angel put in their 2 weeks notice, about every 18 months.
Oh,
So what helps us be able to have experiences, right? To be able to get over the fear, all of it revolves around psychological safety. So women need to feel safe in our love, whether that's with relationships or friendships, no matter where we are, we have to feel safe. So that's the base. We need to know that we're accepted for everything about us and that we're still loved. All of our faults, our failures, our blemishes, the things that we screw up, that we have that safety net of love and acceptance to fall back on. We want to be known, we want to be seen. We want to be known through and through, including the failures of our past, the shortcomings of our character, and still be loved. And that's where the promised land lives in our heart. And that's where we find rest. So when we can be fully seen, fully heard, fully known, that gives us the psychological safety to be able to try new things, to be able to reach for new things, to be able to do the things that are outside of our comfort zone, because we know that we can always run back to the comfort zone if we need to, because it's safe there and we're loved and we're accepted and we're seen there. So that allows us to travel outside of that. So this is something I love. Like when I was doing my communication studies, I've got my undergrad in psychology. I love Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay. So physiological needs have to come first. So that's food, shelter, basic things, right? Like that. It's one of the reasons why kids have a hard time focusing in school if their housing situation or their food situation is they're coming from an insecurity in that area. So their physiological safety has to come first. Okay. For a lot of the women that I deal with, sometimes that can't be actualized because like they don't know where their next meal is going to come from. They can't afford a lawyer. So we work on physiological safety first. Okay. So the second one is safety. That's money, housing, locks on the door. Are you strong enough? Are all of that. So like once you're, because I don't know how about you guys. I've got a full-time job as well as divorce coaching. So like I'm stressing out and I cannot think 2 days before payday because I know all of the things that I have to pay, but I know the money's coming. But like once that money hits my account, I'm like, we can get dinner, let's pay these bills. Like I can feel the stress coming off me once that money hits my bank account, because that second level of safety is actualized. Okay. Then the next level is love and belonging. Okay. So this is in your relationships. Do you feel safe in your relationships? Do you feel seen? Do you feel heard? Do you feel all of these things, right? Once you reach love and belonging, security in your relationships, whether that be with your spouse, your friends, your parents, your kids, once you feel all of that, then that raises your level of self-esteem. Then you're able to reach for more. Then you're able to reach for the promotion at work, or that you can go out and try to find that new job, get that master's degree, get that new experience, because everything else is secure. You've got a good place to live, money in the bank, somebody who loves you unconditionally. Awesome. Now I'm going to go and try to do that thing that I want to do that's going to help me feel better about myself, right? The last level is self-actualization. This is the dreaming. This is where all the creativity lives, is in self-actualization. So if you're insecure in your relationship, you're never going to be able to be as fully creative as you need to be. If you don't have psychological or physiological safety, you're not going to be able to get up to the top of Maslow's hierarchy and fully unlock that creative side of your brain where you can do the new thing, right? You're going to live down here in this safety circle of what I did wrong, what I need to improve on. And it's going to be this cyclical pattern where you're just going to keep cycling through here. So all of these three things have to be set before you can start moving up. Okay. I've talked with a ton of clients about this. I'm like, if you don't feel safe with your husband, if you don't feel safe with your spouse, you're not going to be able to move out of that and reach for the thing. Or if you do, it's going to be really, really difficult. It's going to be really hard to get up there and try to get the promotion if you have a spouse or friends that are sabotaging you or not happy for you or constantly envious or jealous. Like it all has to work together. Like all of these things down here, that's your base, that's your cheering squad so you can get up here. Any questions?
No
Good.
questions. I mean, that women that
Cool.
are in life, if they're not, it's just hard to go back and redo all those things if you don't start with them, you know,
Yeah. And it,
really.
and for some of the women I'm dealing with, like if you're here isn't secure and you're trying to get up here, it's gonna get sabotaged somehow. Either you're gonna self-sabotage because you're going through like imposter syndrome, or failure is gonna keep getting put in your face and you're just gonna keep cycling. But yeah,
Right.
it's why it's so important to know yourself and know where you want to go before you have to bring anybody else with you.
Right. And I feel like that's a hard thing. You know, as women, we're nurturers and we have really literally built everything around our families. And even
Yeah.
if we have friends, it's not to say that they're ones that are our safety place because we've become accustomed to not being number one, not being valued. You know, we are the
Yeah.
nurturers we do for others, you know, and
Oh no,
it could be really hard to find new people to put in those positions to cheer you on when you've accustomed yourself to less.
100%. And it's one of the things where I trying to think of how to say this. Like I have the thought in my head. Um, so I have ADHD and sometimes my brain swirls. So I might just have to come back.
And I'm
But
thinking that my daughter got divorced, and we have no history of divorce in our families, none, as far back on either side ever. She's the first person generationally to ever get divorced. And so to say that when she got married, there was a lot of pressure to stay married, there was.
yeah,
We did not like her husband. Um, we treated him very well, and but I literally said to her before she walked down the aisle, I said, sis, I will walk in and we will have a party. I am perfectly fine with that. Give me the
yeah,
okay. If you are not 110% comfortable and sure of your decision, we're having a party tonight. And she said, no, I want to do this. Well, 10 months later, she called and she said, I made a mistake. God
yeah.
doesn't want me to be miserable the rest of my life. And you know what? As parents, I was like, good,
Good for her.
on, you know. And
Good thing it was 10 months for her. It was 10 years for me,
I'm so glad
right?
it was months and no children. Because still, financially, he ended up ahead of the game, you know, but, and he
Yeah.
didn't contribute at all to the marriage, but I think it's important as moms and as women to make sure that we're communicating to our children that this is okay. This is
Yeah.
okay. Divorce is okay. Failure is okay. We're always here. You know, it doesn't
Yeah.
change it between us, you know, and I will always be my children's biggest cheerleader. And I'm always telling them too, you're not a tree. If you're miserable, get up and change your situation. You're not a fucking tree. Move it. You know?
I can't, like, I told so many people that, like, the first 6 months of my divorce, I'm like, you're not a tree. I'm not a tree. I can move. I can change. I can go somewhere else. Like, nothing is rooting me into this forever,
Nope.
right? Like there's no reason why I have to be unhappy in my job, in my marriage. I don't have to live unhappily the rest of my life. Like I can change. I can change my circumstances. And once I realized that I had autonomy over my own life, like that was the eye opener for me. Like,
Right.
so like what's the disconnect? Like how do we stop ourselves from moving up into those areas? And we touched on it a little bit, right? Like 53% of people are unwilling to try new things or again due to a past failure. Right? There's so many people who are like, I don't want to leave my job that I hate
Right.
because I'm afraid of trying something new. Or I did this thing 10 years ago and I wasn't great at it, so I quit.
And I think it's experience. I really do, because I feel like if these people were able to taste sweet success in whatever they want, just once or twice by taking a chance, they would
Mhm.
know it's worth the risk every single time.
But so many people, like my daughter had her first volleyball practice on Saturday, very first one. Now we've been working at home. I was in volleyball all through middle school and high school, a little bit in college. Um, so I'm like teaching her how to bump, how to set, how to spike, how to do the things, right? She gets into her first practice. And when I saw her, she's just like, she's crying. And I'm like, baby, I'm like, what happened? She's like, it was so bad. Like, I was just awful. I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, good for you. And she's like, what? I'm like, good for you, because you have to suck at something first in order to get good at it.
You do. And
And
when you
so
suck
many people,
bad enough, then you're grateful for when you win, so much more so.
yep. Like I remember some of the first weddings that I photographed, and I'm like, oh Lord. But again, I'm an Enneagram 8, right? So I'm just like, I'm gonna keep going, and
Yeah.
eventually it's gonna get really good. Um, so, but like we have to get to that point where like we have to be willing to try again, even though we failed, even though we messed up, even though there's uncertainty, right? So one of my favorite stories is Pilgrim's Progress. It's a super old story written in the 1800s. My grandfather was obsessed with it. It's why I'm obsessed with it. But it talks about this man who feels called to go somewhere else, go live a different life. He's been in this village, he's married, he's been living this tiny, tiny existence, and he keeps feeling like he needs to go out and explore the world and go do other things. And he's just like, I have to go. But he it talks about how he's scared to go, but he goes anyway. And the next person who meets him on the road is named Courage. And courage doesn't come into our home and into our place and then we go. We have to go, and then courage meets us on the way.
Right.
So, um, and then it's 34% of people are unwilling to be vulnerable due to past experience as well, right? It's that fear of being willing to share our experiences or our failures or where we've screwed up because of how those failures were either how we were either reprimanded because of them, or we didn't have a safe place to fail. We didn't have that psychological or physiological safety or relational safety. When we messed up, it was, held over our heads forever. Um, but there's a way I feel like we can have people around us that hold our failure and hold our vulnerability without holding it over our heads and without being condescending or punishing us for things that we're really just kind of trying to learn by experience and take the risks. Because 9 times out of 10, when you take the risk, there's going to be some failure involved, and it's learning as you go and having the people that around you that are with you that can help you through it. So, um, do you have any places where your past failures are holding you back, where they're keeping you from trying new things in your business or trying new things in your life?
I think it's so important to be inquisitive, because if you do something and you do it, you fail, you do it wrong, whatever. I think the best way for me to get past that is to go back and do it again differently. take a different approach. And then if that means going and talking to somebody or going and flashing it in front of the world and saying, okay, I need some input here because I did this, and it didn't work. What's worked for you guys? And when you can come back and redo it good and succeed, then is it a failure anymore? Because I don't feel like it is. I feel like it was just a stepping stone.
Yeah. Yep. And it's not a stone wall. It's a stepping stone.
Right.
So John Maxwell, who I love, he wrote the book Failing Forward. My father paid me to read this book when I was 12 years old, because I had gotten so insulated by failure. I was afraid to try anything new. So he paid me to read this book. He gave me $10 when I was 12. He said, and make failure a regular part of your life. If you're not failing, you're probably not really moving forward. Here's one of the things. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I probably should have put that on my thing before, but if you want to see real life encouraging people in a professional setting, I love the Slug Club in Harry Potter. It's in 6. It's the Half-Blood Prince. So the professor creates, he's the potions master, right? He creates this thing called the Slug Club. So it's Professor Slughorn. And in that club, he creates this environment of kids that are all working together, that there's healthy striving, there's recognition, there's a tolerance for messing up. But then he comes alongside him and he also coaches, right? He's like, oh, let's use this herb or this thing instead of this. Oh, let's crush this thing instead of, cutting it. Let's do these things. And he's finding ways to encourage a little bit of competition, but this healthy striving and tolerance for failure and coaching in this little club that he creates, where all of the students have like this elevated status apart from the other students. Like, these students are attending the party, these students are serving at the party. They can, the less achieving students can still attend the party, but the high achievers are there to enjoy it. So it's, how do you surround yourself with other high achievers who are going to help you strive, who are going to give you that recognition and that pat on the back that you need after you've accomplished those goals? What is everyone's tolerance for failure? And then when you fail, Colleen, like what you said, you pull other people in. Like, hey, what would you do? Do you have any advice? Like, how did you put this potion together? How did you put this class together? How did you put this course together? What did you do in your business? What are all of these tools that are working together to help make our lives easier? So like in our mastermind class, Colleen, we've got Bree, and she's just like, I have no idea how to use Canva. I'm so frustrated. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I can help you. And then you're just
Yep.
like, hey, have you heard about this program that I'm using for all of my social media? I go in there and I think it's Tailwind. And you're like, and look at all of these things that you can do. But it's through that. Like, I have a hard time posting on social media. Hey, we can get you in Canva. We can get you this program. Let's get you up and running. But it's not like we didn't look at Bree and be like, how dare you not post on social media? And how dare you not be able to figure this out for yourself? You're a grown woman. Go use Google, right? Like, you've got to find those women and those people around you that are just going to fuel your fire and help
And
you
that's
get
so
where you want to
important.
go.
Yeah, I feel like, my mom always said, you are what you eat. That was a real big saying back in the 70s when they were introducing the food pyramid, right? And so my mom said it's the same thing. You are who you hang out with. If you're
Yeah,
feeling down and depressed in life, finding a group to hang out with. Hang out with somebody a step ahead of you or that's very different. Make your life a melting pot, because how
yeah,
beautiful is that? I mean, imagine how boring the world would be if it was all me. Everybody was exactly like me in the exact same stage. How boring would that be for us? So to develop ourselves and become our best selves, we absolutely have to have input from all different kinds of people, all different ages and experiences and all of the things, and then be willing to help them along the way and expect the same from them.
exactly.
By doing
Yep.
that, we have to let them see our failures, or they're not going to know that we need the help.
Yep. So here's a couple questions. Like, what's your tolerance for failure, right? Like, what's your tolerance for failure within your relationships? And what's your tolerance for failure within yourself? Like, that voice in your head, what are you telling yourself when you screw up? What are you telling yourself when you mess up? What's that voice in your head? Are you giving yourself grace? Are you giving the people around you grace when they screw up? Because you get it's reaping and sowing, right? If you're giving grace, then you're going to get grace back. If you're giving yourself leeway,
Yes, and I
yeah,
think that
you're going to get it
brought,
back.
yeah.
So my husband is one of these people that has very little grace outside of his relationship with me. I screw up all the time, especially as a woman with ADHD. Hey, did you forget to wash my t-shirts for work? Yep, sure did. Absolutely. But I will go and make sure you have a shirt. He's like, what's for dinner tonight? I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, well, you've got dinner tonight, remember? I'm like, oh, yeah, I've got dinner tonight. Now, he's great with me. He's got this one guy who he has had to chase down for an appointment that he should not have to chase down. And we saw him the other day, and it was everything in me to be like, you don't know what's going on with his life. Like, you cannot write him off. Like, how are you doing? Fine. I'm like, give the man some grace. Like, you have no idea what's going on in his life. Like, we just had a very big weekend. Like, my husband was in the ER this last weekend. He's fine. But I'm like, this man is older than you. He's got grandkids. He's got a full-time business. Like, give the man some grace. And he's like, I know, I should. And I've seen him do it with some other of his work relationships too. And I'm just like, dude, like, give people some grace. Like, within your relationships, we all have lives. We are all busy. We all have things going on. We all have extenuating circumstances. The same grace that, like, if you've had a busy day and you forget to wash those t-shirts, give yourself some grace. Own up to it. Hey, yep, totally forgot. I'll go do that right now. What's for dinner? Well, it looks like we're ordering pizza, or it looks like we're going out to eat. Like, I'm sorry, right? So give yourself some grace. Um, Brene Brown, who I love, she's my favorite. All human beings are hardwired for love, belonging, and connection. Okay. Great women, great women in history, love fully and lead boldly. So we're in Women's History Month. Um, there's, or we're coming up on Women's History Month in March. My marketing brain always runs like 3 weeks ahead. But the women who have made a huge difference in the world have led boldly. They've been the people that have spoken out. They've been the people that have loved their job, loved people, loved serving, wanted to create something new, something different. There's a woman that I was studying that was the inventor of the fire escape, right? So, like, buildings are burning down in New York City, and there's no way for people to get out of the building. So she's like, I see a problem. I'm going to create a solution. And she was like, she was the inventor of the fire escape, and it became one of these things that became mandatory. But it was great because of the way that she saw it as a woman, and she led boldly and was able to get patents and construction and building owners to revamp their buildings, because it wasn't fire escapes that needed to be put on the inside of the buildings. It was very cost effective because it could just be attached to the outside. And she ended up saving millions and millions of lives because she was willing to be bold and lead boldly. And she patented one fire escape. It was a little faulty, so then she patented another one, and then kept refining and kept going. But she's responsible for the fire escape. Like, without her saying, I have this idea, I'm going to go and figure out how to get a patent with the United States Patent Office. I'm going to go and take these steps to save these people, to get these laws enacted in New York City, which then went nationwide. But without her leading boldly, either somebody else would have done it, or people would have died. But she fulfilled her mission. We have one life. And as a woman in the 1800s, early 1900s, like, there's more limitations on them than we've ever had. And without leading boldly, like we're never going to get where we're supposed to go or fulfill the destiny that we're supposed to fulfill.
I agree. And I think that this is a time for women to step up. How blessed are we that we have the internet? There are billions of people that we have access to. And this, we have been through all history of mankind, women have been the nurturers. We've nurtured, nurtured, nurtured. And if we can, if anybody can build a business, women can, because we'll nurture it. We will nurture
Yep.
thing and nurture it and mold it and make it successful. And we have the greatest opportunity to do that from our homes and still meet our family obligations and our God-given responsibilities and still be able to project ourselves into the world and share our thoughts, ideas, and make improvements.
Yep. One of the people that I love coming out of COVID, I was like, you want to know the number one economy coming out of COVID? Was the United States. It was New Zealand. You want to know why? Female prime minister. She led her nation through COVID with dignity and grace and understood limitations on women and schools and men and finances and budget. And New Zealand had the lowest cases, one of the lowest cases of COVID and the highest rated like work-life balance, sustainability, happiness, all of those things coming out of COVID, because as a woman, she's able to see the full picture. She's able to see how the finances and family and government all work together and how she was able to keep everybody, I don't know, everybody happy, but you know, she was able to lead her nation through that because she's a woman and she took steps that very few people were willing to take in that circumstance.
Right. And so she's got her intuition. She also has attention to detail, and the willingness to step up and take the chances is huge.
Mm-hmm. Huge. So what about vulnerable women? These are my people, right? So we create safe spaces. Okay. We embrace diversity. We address fears and we set goals and boundaries. Okay. So we create safe spaces. What does that look like? It's everything we've been talking about. You cheer on people that are with you. You encourage the people that need it. And you are a listening ear when people mess up. You are the safe place. There's no judgment. There's no, how dare you? You are the safe space and you create those safe spaces around you for others. Okay. You embrace diversity. So like what Colleen said, you don't have 5 million echo chambers. You have people that question you, that are on your side, that are different from you, that are ahead of you, and people that push you. And then I also really think that you need people below you that look up to you so you can continue leading with integrity, leading with honesty, leading with vulnerability, and really having that full picture of I'm reaching and I have somebody that's pulling me up, but I have got a responsibility and I'm pulling somebody else up and I'm leading them.
And I think that's so essential because you don't ever appreciate everything you have until you give back to somebody that you can't gain anything from.
Yeah. Yeah. So you address fears. I know I was a marketing manager for about 10 years and with my team, I'm like, listen, I know that it feels uncertain. I know we're going through COVID. I know that we've got like the financial crisis, right? Like all of those things. It's like, we're going to be okay. Like we're going to keep doing the work. Here's what I've heard coming down the pike. And then the women that I'm dealing with now, I'm like, I understand that you're afraid and I understand that you have real fears about your safety, your relationships, your career, where you're going. Let's figure out how we can work through those together and let's make a plan. That's the goals and boundaries part. Let's make a plan to help address those fears, right? So goals and boundaries are huge. Like without goals, you don't know where you're going. Without boundaries, you can't get there. Um, so Archilochus says, we always rise to the level of our expectations. So how do you rise? How do you get there? You get there through goals and you get there through boundaries. Okay. So I want you to take a second. I want you to think about what do you want to do? What is stopping you from doing the things you want to do? If there's new things in your business, if there's new things in your home, new things in your life, what is stopping you from doing those things? Like what's the thing that's holding you back? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you're like, hey, I want to do this thing, but I'm afraid to do it because, like, what is it? And if you could do anything, what would you do? So my friend Lorna, I had tried to be an executive assistant for like 5 years. I was horrible at it. I was the worst executive assistant ever. All being an executive assistant taught me was that I want to have an assistant someday. I was so bad at it. And so I'd gotten fired from my third executive assistant position because you would think after two, I would be like, no, it took three. So after getting fired 3 times, 3 different CEOs, 3 different businesses, it was horrible. My husband hated me because I was also the breadwinner at that time. And my friend Lorna sat me down. She's just like, listen, this is not working. If you could do anything, what would you do? If you could get paid to do anything, what would you do? And I was like, I would write. I would write. She's like, okay, so that's marketing. So let's figure out how to get you a job in marketing where you can write. And 4 months later, I got hired to be the content marketing manager for a benefits company. And I was in charge of all of their content. And because I had a master's in communications and because I had written things my whole life, I never knew you could write for business. It's like I had taken pictures all through high school and college. I didn't know you could get paid to be a photographer. I know that sounds crazy, right? Like, oh, there's wedding photographers all over the place. I had a very, very sheltered existence and a very controlling mother that led me into a controlling marriage. I had no idea I could do all of these things until other people in my life were like, hey, you can do these things. It's like, all right, let's give it a try. What's the worst that could happen? So I want you to take a second. Like, what is stopping you from doing the things that you want to do? What's stopping you from living the life that you want to live? Like, what's that thing that you need to jump over or figure out or move through? What's the thing that you need to do scared and do it anyway to get to where you want to go? Okay. So again, how do we develop this skill? It's the same thing as before, right? We have healthy striving. We have people around us that have recognition. We develop a tolerance for failure, and we find people that can help coach us. Okay. So how do we build the life that we want? How do we get over failure? We set goals. Okay. I'm a huge goal setter. I'm very ambitious. Um, I used to be anything for the goal, sacrifice anything for the goal. I'm not there anymore. But yeah, you have to set goals. Secondly, you have to be kind. Okay. You've got to be kind to yourself in the process. If you don't meet a goal within a certain amount of time, the goal doesn't need to change. Maybe your expectations and your time frame do. So maybe just adjust it. Don't change the goal. Maybe just adjust the time frame. And then when you get to your goal, reward yourself. Your dopamine receptors will thank you. You're like, so for me, it was like, okay, when I get my master's, I'm going to go to the Grand Canyon. Okay, so I got my master's in May. I graduated in May. The next year, I took a trip to the Grand Canyon by myself and did a white water rafting trip down the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon with like 29 strangers that I didn't know. But it was like that dopamine hit of like, okay, when I'm done, then I'm going to do this thing. I can fulfill that dream I have of being the professional traveler, right? So like, so the reward for me is always travel related. But let's go back to like the setting goals, right? Like, what do those goals look like? When you set those goals, you have to be able to talk about them as if they've already happened, right? I have a house on the lake. Like that's one of my goals. I have a house on the lake. I have $10,000 in the bank. I am in the best shape of my life. I am the best business owner. I made $1 million this year. So whatever it is, you got to talk about it like it's already happened. And you got to do it every day. You've got to do it every day. You've got to write these goals down. You've got to write down your affirmations every day, because then every day your mind is saying, this is what I'm going to do, because in your brain is already thinking that you've done it. If you write it down as if it's already happened, right? Like, I'm in the best shape of my life. I wrote that. I haven't done I'll be very honest with you. I fell off the wagon. And I jumped back on it this morning, and I'm in my gratitude journal and my goals journal. And I'm like, I am grateful I'm grateful that my husband did not have a heart attack this weekend, right? Like, I am very grateful for my tea this morning. I'm grateful that I have a whole week with my kids this week. And then my goals, like, I'm in the best shape of my life. I have $10,000 in the bank. I have a house on the lake. And I walked into this meeting this morning thinking I was going to conquer the freaking world. Why? Because my brain is in that mode of like, I'm going to conquer the world today. So once you start writing those things down, your brain gets activated and your body follows.
Right.
Okay. So the more you do, the more you fail. The more you fail, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you get. This is why I love John Maxwell. If you haven't read Failing Forward yet, I highly recommend it. Free plug. But just keep trying and keep putting yourself out there. So this is where you can find me on all of the social channels. This is my website. If you're looking for a life coach or a good coach to help you get to that next level, I definitely do that. I don't just do divorce coaching. You'll get on my website, you're going to see that it's like divorce coaching focused, because that's my niche. That's my ideal client. I do business coaching. I also do, I have some like therapy journals. And one of the things that I'm giving to everyone in this group is the gratitude, goals, and growth journal that I developed. So I sent that link to Colleen. Colleen is going to make sure that it's distributed in the group. I would very much appreciate if it stayed in the group. It is a freebie that I'm giving you. I normally sell it for $25. It's going to go up in my shop on the 1st of March. So you guys are getting a preview. It's a digital copy. You can put it on your iPad. You can put it on your Kindle. You can write in it, and then you can just refresh it. It's meant to go through quarterly. So it's just a couple pages to help you prioritize, write down the things that you want. And then there's like prompts of like how to work through it, and how to do it in a way that like activates that brain body chemistry together. So
Very good. And I will add to that, if anybody uses that, if they would give you a testimonial back, that would be great.
I would love that. That would be really, really great.
Have that, and then you can do whatever you like with that.
Yeah.
I sure appreciate this. This has been a great hour. I've taken many notes, and I'm going to order that book. So
Yeah.
I've learned
Well,
a lot.
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that like all the women here just understand like they've got control of their lives. Like, they can make their lives better. They don't have to keep rehearsing and revisiting the things that have come before. Like, they can move forward and do something new, and then they have better things to look back on in the future.
Absolutely.